Yeah, these Wisconsin companies, there's some seriously quality companies because they're always known for doing things a step up from all these others. And, because, let's face it, Culver's, the big issue isn't Culver's versus, Mickey D's or Burger. It's Culver's versus In-N-Out. Or in Texas, Culver's versus Whataburger.
Yeah.
The ones that everybody holds in the highest esteem. And...
But the higher quality, I do think, is very Wisconsin, which we should save for the intro of the episode, because that's a great point.
Which we can start recording whenever.
Yeah, maybe we should.
All right.
Or have you been recording the whole time? Because this would have been the perfect opening.
Well,
Thanks, Dave.
Speaking of great Wisconsin companies, and I think we're one of them, and certainly Quick Trip is one of them, but people like Sargento, people like Johnsonville, we've got some great grocery store chains in Wisconsin. Who are the sausage?
When you mentioned Johnsonville, are you talking about Old World, Old Wisconsin, or?
I'm talking about Johnsonville.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The sausage company. But we got a lot of good summer sausage companies.
Yes, we
Clements do. And, you name it.
Usingers
is another one. Yeah. So, yeah. I love Wisconsin.
I can tell.
I do.
You came to the right place.
Good.
Yeah.
Because we love talking about all things Wisconsin and what makes Wisconsin fantastic.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here in our cabin.
We're here in our cabin.
Which I'm still getting used to. It just got redone a little while ago. And I'm loving all of the new accoutrements.
It's gorgeous in here. We have to give Nicole so many shout outs for what she's done to this place.
And I know tomorrow is September, but I'm eyeing up that snowshoe going, winter's not that far away.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Don't scare Dave.
Well, yeah, right? Well, here in the cabin today, we're very excited because we have a special guest who's basically started a company that you have enjoyed at some point. Perhaps almost every day.
If you're listening to this episode of The Cabin, you've enjoyed this
yes,
establishment.
That's true. If you have the heads up, you're listening, you're an active lover of Culver's, and we have none other than the Craig Culver with us today.
Well, I don't know about the.
Name one other. Name another Craig Culver.
There are other Craig Culvers, by the way. I'm proud to be here. Thank you for the invite. It's very, very nice.
It's great to have you here, and we will get into some details about Culver's, its history, its awesomeness, and other things.
Yeah, would love to.
In moments on The Cabin.
Right after this.
The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association, and this week we're featuring Jefferson County, which I drove through to get here today. Jefferson, of course, itself is the county seat, located at the intersection of the Rock and Crawfish Rivers, the confluence, if you will. Very strong German heritage. They celebrate with Gemütlichkeit days, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think you are.
Something like that.
Sounds right.
And a lot of other festivals throughout the year. And Waterloo also celebrates with an annual Wiener and Kraut Day.
That sounds like one heck of a festival.
Yeah. A lot of meat, a lot of cabbage.
Is there an annual Wiener Day and an annual Kraut Day?
No, I think the way I read it on the website was
all together.
All together.
Well,
Gotcha.
they go together like kibbles and bits. Come on. All right. Also, Lake Mills was originally called Tyranina.
Didn't know that.
Which there is a Tyranina Brewing Company, which supposedly is an indigenous name meaning sparkling waters. Tyranina was also one of the ancient names of the lake that's there, which is now called Rock Lake. But Lake Mills, very lovely town, home to a Culver's.
Yes, sir.
Right off Exit 259. And Fort Atkinson was named after a combination of two inspirations. General Henry Atkinson, who was a commander of the U.S. forces during the Black Hawk War, which was back in the 1830s, against a mixed band of Sauk, Meskwaki, and Kickapoo tribes. The city also developed at the site of Fort Koshkonong, which you may recognize that name for the big lake just southwest of Fort Atkinson. That was used during that war, and a replica of the original stockade from 1832 has been built just outside town. So, and there's also a Culver's in Fort Atkinson right off US 12 and Highway 26. And so,
speaking of the Sauk Indians, they spent a lot of time just outside of Sauk City and Prairie du Sac, my home. And, still today, I know a lot of people that hunt for the arrowheads. Arrowheads, yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to say. And they find a lot up in the hills right along the river.
Wow.
Which is called Black Hawk Hill or Round Top. And So yeah, there was a lot going on there.
A lot of artifacts. Well, they were there for so long, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. There's a lot there. So, so that's Sauk County, and Jefferson County, of course, part of our Wisconsin Counties Association County of the Week. And we'll get to Sauk County in a future episode, and we love talking about Sauk County
We
too.
do love talking about Sauk County.
I'm thirsty, so let's light this candle.
Because the cabin is also brought to you by Jolly Good Soda. And what's so funny about this, Eric has our last Jolly Good in the building because we have literally drank them all.
Oh wow!
I was going to pretend like this was Jolly Good in this, but you've broken the veil.
I did.
We're supposed to be all about deception, Susan. You're
I
just-
know.
okay.
I know. But when they only hear one crack of that top, thank you for that.
Good stuff.
There you go.
They'll realize it's only one because we literally love Jolly Good so much.
Was it my loudest
We
crack,
drank it
but
out.
hey.
Jolly Good Soda is available in 6 and 12 packs and select flavors at Festival Foods, Woodman's, Sendik's, Piggly Wiggly, Triggs, and Quality Foods. And if you can't find Jolly Good at your local store, what do you do, Dave?
You make a big scene, stomp and yell, cry,
You go up to that manager and you're like, "Hey, dude, I need more Jolly Good.
Throw
and this
punches.
soda." Throw punches. You can get the
Just
regular.
kidding. Don't listen to me.
Dave's advice is pretty extreme, but you can get regular Jolly Good, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you will see that Eric, as per usual, is enjoying one of the diet lines of the Jolly Good, which is caffeine-free, 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugars, which is the perfect way to enjoy your flavor, especially now that we're coming into fall. We need some new fall mixed drinks versus our summer mixed drinks. And
Yeah.
make sure that you stay up to date on Facebook, Instagram, and their Twitter accounts at Jolly Good Soda for all of their fun promotions.
Halloween themed old fashioned or something using Jolly Good. would be
Ooh,
good.
that can work.
Something along those lines.
It's like you work
2 months
for,
till Halloween.
for a media company, Eric.
It's almost as if I'm in broadcasting or something, right?
And on that note, I think it's a great time.
Let's fire up the grill for some Butterburgers.
All right. So, we are introducing a new mini-series here in the cabin. We've done small runs of episodes like Haunted Wisconsin back in last October, Wisconsin Best Bites, and Brewsconsin kind of became its own mini-series, but
It's turning into one.
There's a lot of material there.
Yeah.
today we are breaking ground on a new series that we are calling, Iconically Wisconsin?
Iconically Wisconsin.
Yeah, and so we are interviewing some people that have made Wisconsin the iconic destination that it is. And so to kick it off, today we have the man behind custard, Butterburgers, and so much more, Craig Culver. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to the cabin.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Awesome to have you here.
Thank you.
Before we get started, does everyone want to say their favorite Culver's order?
Ooh,
Because I'm a big fan of the cod dinner. Gotta have cod dinner,
that's fair.
even if it's not Friday. It's always
Which
Friday.
I've never tried at Culver's.
What?
The cod, the
should.
walleye. I look
It's
at it. and I'm
very
like,
good.
That looks, but I can't be there and not get a burger.
Well, just have a cod fillet sandwich.
I'll have
Yeah.
to do that.
And the tartar sauce that we
The tartar sauce. I
that we
always have to get that for like making fish at home. I have to have that tartar sauce.
So my family, we've been in the food business since I was 11 years old, starting with a little A&W drive-in. But we've also had several supper clubs over the many years before starting Culver's. And back at the Farm Kitchen Resort, which my family bought in 1969, which was also a supper club and resort right at the north entrance of Devil's Lake State Park. And that tartar sauce stems from the farm kitchen days
Wow.
back then. And we've carried that forward to Culver's, and I love our tartar sauce.
it's
And
so
of course, I
good.
love our cod as well. I love the walleye, but we can't source enough walleye to
Yeah, I know that's
to
an
have it throughout.
occasional dish, but I mean,
Just during Lent.
there's no other restaurant like that will serve walleye.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a fish sandwich in a lot of places, but walleye?
Yeah, not like not like a Culver's, so to speak, but we sell a lot of walleye when we have it. We sell out rapidly, unfortunately, but our cod is, in my opinion, just as good as the walleye is.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't say that in Wisconsin, should I?
I think it's safe in here, so we're good.
Yep.
What's your
my gosh.
favorite?
I see. I'm gonna default into a Butterburger.
Mm.
That's
I'm
like
gonna
it's the
do the same.
quintessential thing at Culver's.
Double Butterburger with cheese.
Well, here I want
and onion rings.
I want to set you straight on a Butterburger.
All right.
What I tell people is if they've never had a burger at Culver's, a Butterburger, what they should order is a double Butterburger with nothing on it. No cheese, no ketchup, nothing. So they just get the buttered bun and the double Butterburger, and you bite into that and you'll taste the true flavor of the meat that we use at Culver's. It's the best.
It is
It is
the
just the
best.
best. And I love, I usually order a single deluxe, as a matter of fact. Mayonnaise, lettuce, pickle, tomato, and onion. So I love all that too. But to get the true taste of a Butterburger, order it plain, order a double, and I do that on occasion in any restaurant I might go to, just to make sure everything
Quality
is
control, absolutely.
See what sets
Try
it
that.
apart.
Try
yeah.
that.
Well, it's kind of like when you go to an Italian restaurant, a straight-up cheese pizza will tell you almost everything you need to know about the rest of their food.
There you
It's
go.
kind of similar. You get the most basic burger you can, and you get the sense of the main ingredients. Because without a good bun and without good meat, the rest of the burger is not going to matter.
No different with custard. You'll probably ask me what's my favorite
Yep.
flavor. Well, it's vanilla. I'll tell you straight up, it's vanilla. Same thing. Vanilla is, it's the base for all the flavors that we have. It's the base for chocolate as well.
Yeah.
So if you've never had frozen custard at Culver's, that is, try the vanilla first before you've ever tried another flavor. Just try it, and you'll get that great Wisconsin dairy taste, which is so wonderful.
Yeah, it's so rich. That's the best part about it.
Yes, 13% butter fat, and
Egg yolk, too, right?
egg yolk is in custard. Yes, it is. Yeah.
So it's just denser and more delicious, which is nice. You eat it slower. You can enjoy it longer.
Yeah, the egg doesn't add density, but it adds richness to the custard. And
Yeah, the density part is more in how it's prepared, right? The more air is
exactly.
forced out.
So you're very good. Very
smarter than I
good.
look.
Did his homework.
So you're right. Good custard has very little air beat into it. We say about 20 to 25% air is beat into good frozen custard. Ice cream that you buy in the grocery store generally has as much as 100% air beat into it. So if you take a quart of custard from Culver's anyway, and a quart of some ice cream that you buy in the grocery store, the custard's going to weigh considerably more than that ice cream is because it has less air beat into it.
It is noticeable.
That's called an overrun, if you want to get technical about it.
Now,
Interesting.
and let's get into that history. Now, Culver's, I believe, started in 1984.
Very good.
And the first time I had heard of it, I was a college student in Madison in 89, and you guys were advertising on Z104. And I heard the ad about if you want a really good burger, you've got to try this Butterburger at Culver's stores, which at the time you probably had, 5, 6 locations or something. They were all kind of around Madison.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd expanded that much at that time. So that's the first time I'd heard of it, and I tried one, and I'm like, okay, that's my new go-to. And you had mentioned before an A&W root beer stand and some supper clubs. Just give us kind of the history of how Culver's came to be then, because obviously its origins go back a few decades before it actually began.
Yeah, exactly. And, when I'm telling the story, I don't start with Culver's frozen custard. I start with where we really got involved in the restaurant industry. And my dad, my parents are both passed now. Dad would, if he was still here, he'd be approaching 100 this year. But my dad worked in the dairy business with Wisconsin Dairies back in the 50s and 60s. And for whatever reason, he got entrepreneurism started to fill into him. And he decided he wanted to buy this little A&W drive-in in Sauk City, right where the original Culver's is today. So 716 Phillips Boulevard.
Is that along 12, right?
Right
the
along
main
12.
drag,
That's the original. And so he bought this little A&W drive-in and gravel parking lot, no inside seating. There was no lines for cars to park. They just circled. They circled the wagon, so to speak. They circled around the building when we got busy. All car hop service. The bathroom was even on the outside of the building instead of the inside. I mean, it was a little shack of a place serving 5 and 10 cent root beers in the mugs, the cold frozen mugs, and the little baby beers. If you guys are too young, you don't remember any of that. But it was a cool place, and like I said, he bought that in 1961. 1961, so a long time ago. And in 1968, he decided to sell. And by the way, when he bought that place, he didn't have the money to buy it. I'm told he needed some help from his father. My father eventually helped me as well when I started my career. But Dad put all of his marbles on the table when he bought that. And something about entrepreneurs, which Dad was, they don't think they can fail. They just don't.
They're willing to take on an amazing amount of risk, and they pour everything into it.
That's right.
And so they put themselves, I can't fail. I have to make this work.
Well, and if they do, guess what they do? They get back up again.
Oh, they try it. Absolutely.
They don't stop. And
well, Craig, you know what they say. An entrepreneur is somebody who works 100 hours a week so they don't have to work 40.
Been there, done that. But anyway, Dad decided to sell the A&W in Sauk City in 1968. I didn't care. Food service was not going to be my vocation. You got to work those 100-hour weeks. And so he sold it, and Dad couldn't sit still very long, and he started looking for another opportunity to purchase, and that's when the Farm Kitchen Resort came up for sale at the north entrance of Devil's Lake State Park. And 2 big dining rooms, lobby or in the middle of it. We had a little bar. We added a little bar to that. We had 24 cottages. We had an amusement barn, 40 acres. We had gardens.
Jeez, this place sounds huge.
It was. And when I'm telling the story, I say, what was my father thinking? He's coming from a hot dog stand to this.
That's a big change.
This is a full-service place with a 24 sleeping rooms as well, and swimming pool. And but they were my mom and dad, and I just figured they'd figure it out. And they did. They just figured it out. But one of the things they were so good at, and this is another thing I share with all of our team members and managers and owners, they were so good at surrounding themselves with the right people.
Crucial.
People that gave a darn, people that knew how to say please and thank you and my pleasure. They were so good at that, and that carries forward with us, part of our culture yet today. And by the way, it's a struggle right now. Labor is a struggle right now, and that's why it's so important that we retain the right people in our organization. We do everything we can to make sure we can grow careers for those people. So someday they can own their own Culver's frozen custard and Butterburger place, and that's what we try and do. But Mom and Dad, they got it started, and like I said, they helped me along the way as well.
So did they still have that place when you were getting Culver's going in '84?
No, Dad sold the farm kitchen in 1974, and I was just graduating from college with a degree in biology. You see, I wasn't going into the restaurant business. Well, I was sending out resumes everywhere and didn't know where the heck I was going to go. And my sister suggested to me that I go talk to her neighbor, Tom Showers. Tom and Betty still live in the area here. Tom was an area supervisor for McDonald's, and my sister suggested, Craig, go talk with him, see if you can get a job with McDonald's. I said, Georgia, my sister's name, I don't want to be in the restaurant business, and I don't think I want to work for McDonald's. Well, guess where I ended up? And I went to work for McDonald's as a trainee, much like many of our young people do with us, and became a general manager with them within a year. I learned a lot from the McDonald's people. You see, working for your family in family businesses, and still family businesses are like this today, they don't necessarily keep track of the P's and Q's. They don't keep a scorecard. They don't know the labor controls, the waste controls, the inventory controls. They don't have an income statement. They don't even know how to read an income statement or a profit and loss statement. Well, McDonald's taught me those things. Sure. They really did. Not that my parents didn't know those things, but they sure never taught them to me. And the McDonald's people taught those P's and Q's to me.
Well, McDonald's is about being scalable and having a standard that applies anywhere you go. And when you have a small family business, you don't have to worry about that.
That applies to any good business. Mm-hmm. You got to have standards. You've got to be consistent. If not, then you're going to be all over the place, and it's probably not going to work on a large scale.
Mm-hmm. So I never knew that you worked for McDonald's. I did know that you graduated from UW-Oshkosh.
That's right.
Because I did as well. I actually saw you at some of the pitch nights for the CEO Club.
Oh, okay.
Which was very fun. But my question about working at McDonald's, I once heard an interview with their founder when he was asking, like, I think it was like a group of school children, what do you think I do for a living? What do you think my business is? And they all said, well, you make hamburgers. And he said, no, I'm in the real estate business.
Yeah, he would say that, and they were, and my comment would be, we're in the people business. Mm-hmm. That's what we're in. We're in the people business. And like I said, we're trying to create careers for people, not just be a hamburger flipper, as so many people say about our business. We're far more than that. We're very sophisticated, as a matter of fact. And we want to teach people our business, and we want people to go on and create their own careers. And if Culver's is part of that plan, we're proud to help them along that way.
See, and that's what I think makes it that iconically Wisconsin big, because you feel that difference when you walk into a Culver's versus walking into a McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll never say anything bad about any of our competitors, and certainly not McDonald's. They taught me a great deal, and I was with them back in the very early, not the earliest days, but in the 70s, and I'll tell you what, they were a great company, and they're still a powerhouse yet today. Mm-hmm. And we compete against them everywhere as well as everybody else. And earlier we mentioned a couple of the iconic brands that we also compete in not necessarily Wisconsin, but some, Chick-fil-A would be one of those great brands, family-owned business. In-N-Out, California, we compete against them, in Arizona and Utah and Colorado and Texas. The other one, Butterburger, down in Texas as well. They have cult followings. They have great followings. Well, I think we do too. Mm-hmm. But those are some, and I totally respect those brands. I do. They've got great people. They've had great founders who, in some cases, they're still with the companies. And, which brings up to me succession. What do you do when the founder is not there anymore? And that's the thing that all leaders have a responsibility of filling in that space behind them. And that leader that fills in that comes up next, they have to do the same thing over and over and over again. We're 37 years old. McDonald's is
55, right? So
so they're 75 years old or something like that.
5 or 6, yeah. Oh, wait. 66. What year is it? 2021?
Who knows?
I can't even do that math anymore.
It doesn't matter. But one of the things I said to my daughters, I have 3 wonderful daughters, and I said to them, wouldn't it be wonderful if we set a plan in place, a strategy in place, that Culver's would become a 100-year-old brand at that point in time and still be family-owned? I just think that would, obviously, I'm not going to see that, or even my daughters aren't going to see that, but you have to have a plan in place. And I'm sorry I shifted gears a little bit here, but succession.
You shifted to 2084.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Succession is so important. But that's, I really meant that when we're in the people business, and it's our responsibility to develop our people, not only to be good at what we do at Culver's, but to be better people as well. And I think we can do that. When people are challenged in business and they overcome challenges, they also feel better about themselves, and I believe they're a better person because of it, not just in the business world, but in their own world outside of business as well.
I love
Okay, let's get to something fun.
Well, no, it's funny because there's a sense of community around a Culver's in a town. More so, I think, than many other places in that category. And you feel it. Like when I was back in Dallas, I went to high school in that area, and I was driving on the freeway, and I saw Culver's in McKinney, Texas.
That's right.
First time I ever saw one down there, and I was like, oh my God, we're coming down here. Like, I'm acting like I'm part,
You were on Highway 75 is where
I
you
was
were.
on 75, the Central Expressway. Very good. Whoa.
We've got another road fan.
He knows. Wow. Okay, I'll give you one more then. I was doing road trip writing for a hotel chain, and I was in Murray, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I was doing bourbon trail chains and some other stuff. And it was Best Western, and they have a hotel in Murray. So I stopped there, got pictures, and I was hungry, and I saw a Culver's. And for me, it was the Wisconsin Embassy.
So last year we didn't have our convention. We have an annual convention. We call it reunion, as we call it. We don't call it convention, but for our folks' audience here, that makes more sense to them. But so 2 years ago, we have a store of the year, Murray, Kentucky.
It was Murray? Wow.
That's right.
Nice.
That's
And-
funny. They were so friendly there.
Well, a Wisconsin influence there. Jim and Chris, who are the owners of that restaurant, they're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Really?
And they've also got family down in Murray, and they decided to move their young family down there and open a Culver's. His father was a Pontiac dealer in Milwaukee and decided to get out just at the right time. And Jim went along with that and decided to
Nice.
open a Culver's.
Yeah, a little college town down there. Murray
It's
State is
wonderful,
there.
yeah.
And
Basketball school.
yeah, big
Yeah.
time for the NCAA tournaments. That's when everybody hears about it. And yeah, they're all friendly. I'm like, oh, I'm from Wisconsin. I have to come here and get a burger. Oh, yeah. Well, welcome. A little bit of the Kentucky accent. Now, how many Culvers are there in the country, roughly?
Well, glad you asked. We have 812 right now.
Wow.
This past week we opened 2 restaurants, both on Tuesday. Normally we'd open on Monday. Monday was a holiday, and so we opened 2 on Tuesday.
Wow.
See, the thing is, I have a feeling you know the location and a story behind each one.
Yeah.
Because I've named 2 in states far from here, and you knew...
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know
where
the
they were.
family,
Yeah.
you know their story. It's bizarre.
Unfortunately, I'm not the CEO any longer, so I haven't been for 6 years now, but I'm still very engaged in the business.
Yeah.
I'm chairman of the business and an owner of the business as well. And probably not, I don't know the newer people as well as I knew the people prior to me exiting as CEO, but that's very important. That's the culture piece. These owner operators of Culver's, they go through 17 weeks of training with us. So we do get to know them well. They spend 12 weeks in Sauk City, Wisconsin, and we get to know them. They get to know us. And for an organization to be successful, you got to build a relationship between. Here we are back to people again.
Right.
You got to build a relationship between the parties, and you got to work together as one. And that's the way we work.
So 800, we said 812?
812.
How many different states now?
26.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you
And-
want to be in all 50 states?
Except for California.
Fair enough.
No, it doesn't. That's not that big a deal to me. And my dad was the same way. One of the things he said to me when we probably had 100 restaurants was, he said, Culver, it's not important how many restaurants we have. What's important is how many good restaurants we have. And how do you get good anything? Again, it's back to people.
Yeah.
You got to have the right leadership. And they surrounding themselves with the right people. So that's what's key. And yeah, we are opening about 50 restaurants a year right now, but I don't care to open them if we can't, if we can't put the right leaders in there, we can't staff them properly. That's the last thing I want. I don't want to close restaurants, and we've been very good at not closing any restaurants. We've been very good at operating successful restaurants. And this past year was not an easy one, I'll tell you.
So, the concentration, of course, started here in Wisconsin.
Sure did.
Some of the original, because, the Culver's logo is pretty unmistakable, but there's been a slight tweak to it over the years. I can see in Cross Plains, Sauk City, and a couple of other locations,
Different
mainly north and
signage?
west of Madison, the original logo, which it's slightly different, but it's noticeable.
Yeah.
And, you're like, wow, those are the restaurants that were there in the 80s.
Even Sauk City is not the original roadside.
Cross Plains, I think, is.
They haven't changed theirs. You're right.
Yeah.
But they came along a little bit later. They were probably 1995 or something like that, because they're, I think, 27 years old.
Because you were primarily a kind of Madison, South Central Wisconsin area growing chain for quite a while. When was the big expansion? When did that begin, and how did you go about doing that?
Well, the big expansion started about 1993, and I think that year we opened 14 restaurants, and we weren't prepared for that. No, we weren't. We didn't have the infrastructure in place, meaning the people in place to open that many restaurants. I mean, we doubled, tripled, quadrupled in size, and that usually doesn't work real well for an organization. So what we did was I said, we got to stop this. We're not prepared to grow this fast, and we're not doing a good job at servicing our restaurants. So we actually stopped franchising for close to a year, and people were coming in saying, I want a franchise, and we were telling them, no, we can't do it right now. We're not prepared to. We're going to open. Well, we didn't know when we'd reopen franchising, but when we did, a year later, after closing it down, we had people lined up wanting a Culver franchise, and what we found out, this was great marketing. When you tell somebody no, they want it even more.
Yep.
So, and we've never done that again. But we know how important people are, and the right people on your team, and you got to have them if you're going to grow.
So you need to be the right kind of nice people. You do 12 weeks of training in Sauk City. What else does it take for someone who wants to open a Culver's franchise?
Unfortunately, it takes money. Unfortunately,
that's business. Yeah,
because these are not inexpensive projects. Land alone can be well over $1 million. The building is a couple $1 million. The equipment package is, I don't even know all the exact numbers any longer, but it can easily be in excess of $3 million.
Wow.
And sometimes it's close to $5 million. Fortunately, our sales volume is strong enough where we can do those numbers. It makes sense to us, and so we are. We're on last year with COVID. We still had a record year. Our comparative sales, and everybody in our business always compares to the prior year. Comp sales, comparative sales. Those stores that were open, not in addition to the new restaurants that opened. And we were up about 4% in the year of the COVID. And this year, so far, we're blowing the doors off. Yeah. We are, and it's
proven to be
busy.
A solid return on investment, people who have franchised at Culver's. And if you looked in the magazines, like the Inc. magazines and some of the others, where they always rank franchise opportunities, Culver's has shown up pretty high on those lists.
Yeah, I don't see all that stuff. I don't. It's always cool to see your name, but we're not. We need investors, certainly, and some of our owner-operators need investors to help them, just like my father helped me because I didn't have any money back when. But we don't want just pure investors.
Oh, yeah.
We want people that truly have a heart for what we do. But we do need investors for some of our people.
But it has been shown to be a pretty good return. But that goes back to good people running it, good food there. And that's another question like I would have, like the business mind in me is like, how, what do you have issues sometimes with sourcing? What are your biggest challenges? And I know you have a closer relationship, it seems, to the food source and the farmers. You know, if you're driving on 151, for example, you see the big "Thank You Farmers" sign on the door. I know you see that all the time,
pass it every
Susan,
2 weeks.
when you go to Dare County. So, you know, noting the freshness of the food and how close you are to the source of it, that's a big deal.
We wanted people to know where their food came from. And as well, we wanted to pat farmers on the back in a big, big way. I think the hardest job in America is being a farmer and being a dairy farmer especially. Oh, they work. They work so hard, and what they produce produces all the, you know, whether it's milk, whether it's frozen custard, whether it's the great cheeses we have in the United States, and especially Wisconsin. They work so hard to do that. I compare restaurant work to agriculture as very comparable, as a matter of fact. We're 7 days a week. We're there in the restaurants at 6, 7 in the morning, getting it prepared to open at 10. You know, we close, as I was saying earlier, 10 o'clock generally, but sometimes as late as 12 o'clock. It's a long day. It is. And it's one of the reasons I told my parents a long time ago, as I told you earlier, I didn't want to be in the restaurant business. I don't want to work as hard as you did. But, you know, agriculture and restaurants there's a lot of similarities as far as hours that you have to put in.
Well, and we noted risk. You know, entrepreneurs taking on risk. Farmers have a lot of risk because they're so dependent on weather and seed quality, just all those kinds of things.
Machinery.
I mean, animal health.
This stuff. Oh yeah. I mean, and it goes on and on and on and on. But you know, traveling through Wisconsin right now, the crops out there look wonderful.
Yeah, they do.
They just look wonderful. And you know, they say the corn knee high by July 4th. Well,
like
heck, it's
waist high.
as tall as me. Well, I'm not that tall, but but the crops look wonderful, and I'm so glad to see that. So.
Well, and you mentioned dairy farming and the wonderful cheeses. You've introduced deep fried cheese curds to many areas of the country. What have you observed with that? I know there's a story or two.
You know, I remember when we opened our first restaurant in Tucson, Arizona on here I go again, on Broadway is the name of the street.
What's the phone number of the restaurant?
I don't know. But I was there for that opening and helping out, and it was at that time the biggest opening we've ever had. It was a zoo. And I remember running an order out in the dining room and overhearing these ladies talking. What are those cheese curd things? And the other lady said, it's a Wisconsin thing, from what I heard.
From what I heard.
Yeah. But yeah, we've introduced cheese curds around the nation. And but now you're seeing them a lot of places outside of Wisconsin now.
Yeah, that's really maybe in the last 15 years or so that's suddenly appeared on more menus.
Well,
around the country.
I would
maybe
say
it's 20 or 25.
I would say more like 5 years.
Oh,
I would not that long ago, 15 years ago, but whatever. We serve a lot of them, and all the curds are from a family dairy just outside of Chippewa Falls, here in Wisconsin. Yep.
wow.
All of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a volume
It's millions
business.
of pounds.
Wow.
Millions
Yeah.
of pounds.
We talk a lot about cheese curds on this podcast, and I'm always taking my wife to new restaurants that I heard that we've got to go try their curds. And every time she's like, they're good, but they're not Culver's.
Well, thank you for that. And I like cheese curds just about wherever I go.
Yeah.
However, and I'll share a secret with you, but that's not a smart thing to do on a podcast.
We are recording this.
I am not a fan of a raw cheese curd. I am just not. It just fried cheese curds, great. I love them, but I don't know. There's just something, and
Is it the squeak you don't like?
I don't
Texture
know.
thing?
that's just a Craig thing. So
Yeah.
let's just get over it and let's block that out of this podcast.
Let's understand, breading in oil really makes anything
Makes
so much better.
We went home last night and we said, let's just eat at home. And so I brought some tater tots home and I said, well, let's turn on the oven. We'll bake them in there. My wife said, no, we're going to fry them in oil.
Just make it a little tastier.
Yeah.
It does help. And of course, French fries, Wisconsin's a big potato state. Idaho's a big potato state. And I think you're in Idaho.
Yes, we
now.
are. Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of Wisconsin sourcing goes on, but I'm sure some of those products come from around the country.
The potatoes do come from the southeastern corner of the state of Washington. So that's where the potatoes come from, which is right next to Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
So
the whole region.
I mean, I love our French fries. When we started, I wanted crinkle cut French fries.
Well, they hold the ketchup better.
They do hold the ketchup. They're just...
It's like stair steps of ketchup.
I even clean up the rest of the tartar sauce with those.
But it came from
tartar
years
sauce on
prior.
fries is good, yeah.
It's something none of my competitors had at that time. I had no idea. That was with one restaurant, so what was I thinking, But I just wanted crinkle cuts is what I wanted, and we've continued with them ever since.
Craig, I do want to ask you, I know that you said so you're not active CEO anymore, but you're still on the board. Obviously you already mentioned for your daughters, you all want to see it reach 100 years, but what other grand visions do you have for Culver's moving forward?
Yeah, I'm not a big, even though I'm talking about, a 100-year-old company and it takes planning to do that. I'm not the best planner in the world, and most entrepreneurs are not, as a matter of fact. But I don't have this grand plan. But I do love change. I get bored with something that just stays the same, and so I look to a new product here and there. It doesn't have to be every month or anything like that, but I like something new on occasion. I think our guests do too, and I think our team members do too. They love some new things that come along, and it just keeps the energy going in the restaurants. There's all kinds of new things going on in the restaurant industry, and COVID helped spark a lot of that. We've been thinking about delivery for a long time, and we've always weren't sure if it made sense for us because our food doesn't travel that well. French fries traveling, you don't know when they're going to get to the destination. A burger. So we just haven't gone there yet. However, I've thought about this as well, that during the year of COVID, that delivery business was huge for a lot of places. And I'm not sure if people really care if the food is cold or not any longer. I myself do not order delivery unless it's a pizza, and usually a pizza, I'm usually disappointed with it when I get it. So there's so many different things going on in the industry, and technology is behind most of it. And in that area, we are changing. We didn't have online ordering over the year of the COVID, and we were behind the 8 ball on that one. We should have had that. We had been looking at it for a number of years, and we just never said, let's do it. And so we were behind technology there. Now we've got it. We've got online, and it's working quite well in the restaurants. You saw if you're familiar with Culver's, you saw the long lines at the drive-thru, and they're still there. And thank God they are there, by the way. But now we have the technology where we can go outside with a tablet and actually take orders out there, break up the line, and fire them into the kitchen. And we can have the order ready when they circle around to the window. So technology-wise, there's going to continue to be new things going on, things I don't even know about right now, but there's always going to be new things. And however, there's in my opinion, one way to make a Butterburger, and I don't want to, and I want to, it's a part science, but part artist as well. The grill person, I mean, it's a real art to make a Butterburger. It's hard work as well, and I just don't know of a piece of machinery that could do that same thing, a robot, so to speak. Nor do I want robots taking orders at the front counter.
Because it's about people.
It is,
People.
and I don't want to see the restaurant industry go exclusively into that direction. Anyway, I believe competitively, we will be a better competitor if we continue to do the hospitality at the front counter and throughout the restaurant. But who knows where all this is going to go. But I believe in that interaction between, our team and our guests, and, a little joke here and there or whatever, putting smiles on faces. I don't know too many robots that can put a smile on a face. Maybe they just look cute or something. Who knows where everything is going. Things will change. If there's one thing, you've also heard this, if there's one thing consistent, it's change. It will happen. And it's up to us to guide it within our company.
Absolutely.
Well, the key is the things that made you successful, you keep those intact and you adapt the technology to make the experience a little, faster or easier than you've just enhanced it. But that's the thing. Technology should enhance instead of replace, ideally.
I agree.
And so that'll help. And that'll help scaling up if you need to or whatever else is happening. Because, man, 812. My guess was 450 to 500 restaurants.
Oh, really?
Because I just didn't, but I also don't travel around the country as much as I used to. So,
well,
but I've seen
I would
it
think
more
most
and more.
people would guess the same as you. They aren't aware. But we'll hit the 1,000 mark a few years.
Wow.
I would say 3 years. We should be very close to that.
Wow.
That should be a celebration for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see what my mom and dad would have to say if they were still around.
Yeah.
Oh my
See
gosh.
1,000 restaurants out there. That'd be something.
Man.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have to have you back after
That
you
could be a
celebrate
celebratory
1,000.
Yeah.
episode. I like that idea.
I love it. Well, Craig Culver, thank you so much for coming into the cabin and talking with us today. This has been a really fascinating
Well,
conversation.
good. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely.
I love talking business, and I love talking Culvers, and I love talking Butterburgers and frozen custard.
Awesome.
Guess what I'm going to have for lunch after we...
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that needs to be our lunch
Oh,
stop
yeah.
before our afternoon recordings.
There's one not far away. What's the
I know.
address?
I was going to say, well, that's where I got all of our decorations for the day.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Craig.
My pleasure.
What a great dude.
Boy, what a
So
conversation.
cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And I had met him before in a couple of other things, like some entrepreneur things. He's always like that. Just very
Like,
straightforward, down to earth.
chill.
Yeah.
Very chill.
Yeah.
Speaks to why Culver's has been successful, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating some Culvers, what message do you have for us, Eric?
Well, distracted driving is the message today. And basically, and we're still in summer. Fall's just around the corner, but let's face it, we got nice weather for a while yet.
Right.
Instead of necessarily dining in or eating in your car, it's always good to plan a trip. Eat your food at the park or by the lake and enjoy nature while you're out there eating. And food is so much better when you're just sitting down and enjoying it. You don't have to worry about driving and stuff like that at the same time. Obviously, using a cell phone while driving is dangerous, but eating and driving, well, there's a 39% increased likelihood of an accident then, too. And including a beverage, especially if it's hot coffee and you spill it on your lap. I think then it goes up that much more. But basically, try the picnicking. Go to the beach, put your toes in the water, enjoy the views, enjoy the food, or just relax, explore gardens or forest or whatever. There is a lot of good information on bobber.discoverwisconsin.com for information and ideas on enjoying your meals.
Yeah.
And doing it more responsibly.
Yeah,
And
like he mentioned, just enjoy it when the food is best.
Right.
Don't
Which
wait
is
till
when
you're
it's
all the
nice
way
and
home.
hot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, he was mentioning that. And he's right. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, French fries don't age well. You got to eat those right when you get
don't
them.
reheat. And I never understood why you can't reheat them properly. But yeah, like enjoy your food in the moment.
A lot of fried things don't. However, fried cheese curds can. More so than fried onion rings or French fries. And burgers can reheat well. You just got to separate the bun.
Right.
So
Right.
we can get into that as another topic. But that, the Bobber, and that is brought to you by Group Health Trust.
Mm-hmm. And from our friends at Focus on Energy, we're entering the last stretch of our summer season.
Eric, you already made a comment about the snowshoe. I know you're excited.
Yeah.
But it's still important to keep cool and save even in the beginning of September. And pretty soon
it'll
it'll
be pretty hot for a while.
It can still be toasty. Yeah.
And pretty soon it'll be important to make sure that your heating is working as well. So did you know that as much as half the energy used in your home goes to heating and cooling? Well, our friends at Focus on Energy provided a few good tips for AC maintenance to help keep costs down and increase energy efficiency. So a good tip from them, get an annual preseason checkup. And if you need a professional to take a look at your AC system, they have some qualified contractors on their website, as well as some cash incentives for keeping those systems up. Just look under the Trade Ally tab on focusonenergy.com and find more tips at focusonenergy.com/blog to save those dollars and enjoy Wisconsin.
When the Packer season comes and all that good stuff.
So this review is particularly very funny per our conversation with Craig today. Not necessarily because it's about food, but it's by Bukowski?
Bye, Kowski.
From Apple Podcasts, and it says, great show, covers it all. I do like the variety of topics and locations you cover. Admittedly, the boozy topics are of high interest to me. We understand
Shocker.
you. We get you. We feel you. But one request, please mention more direction and geography, i.e. how far northwest, southeast, central, etc. when describing locations within the state. I'm clueless on the highways you reference, which I thought was a very direct Eric
Not
call.
Everyone knows exactly what highway
It's just
intersections
a human
are everywhere.
atlas.
That's why my state trunk tour site is so handy. You follow the highways, it tells you where you go. But I'm still going to do the highways because people know they can follow the number. But I'll happily get a little more specific on where in Wisconsin. That is totally fine with me. Bye, Kowski.
Legit.
We
Thank you,
are
Bukowski.
totally open to feedback, some good constructive criticism. But I just thought it was so funny when you and Craig kept going back and forth with like the highways and the exits, and I was like, oh gosh, you didn't know this review is in there, but
Still blows me away. I named 2 random spots in the country, and he could tell me so much about
them. Oh my gosh! Which again, I mean, I feel like I'll always keep that little nugget with me that it's about the people business. I think that's great. Anyway, they wrap it up by saying, thanks. Please keep up the great shows. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bye Kowski. It's one of my favorite Apple Podcast handles so far that we've had.
It's catchy.
So, all right. And of course, next week, where we will be on the tail end of Labor Day weekend, make sure you join us here on the cabin. And before we wrap up, I want to remind you of this message from the All of Us Research Program. The All of Us Research Program is asking for people to help researchers make healthcare more precise by creating individualized prevention and treatment options. When you join, you'll share your unique health information and become part of the largest and most diverse medical research program ever. The more data researchers have, the more they'll be able to create better care for all of us. Introducing the next breakthrough in medicine, you. Details at joinallofus.org/discoverwi.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Eric Paulson, Dave Janis, and me, Susan Foch, with guest hosts of Craig Culver. Produced by me and Audio Dave, with video editing by Cooper Steele, and social media by me and Courtney Haas. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.